Hey, welcome back to the Coin Studio. In this video, we're exploring 5 of the most valuable Australian 1-penny coins. Coins most people ignored, spent, or dismissed as fake. Yet today, they command jaw-dropping 6-figure values. If you've ever thought, it's just a penny, it can't be worth that much, this video will completely change your mind. Stay with me till the end, and don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe for more hidden coin stories. Alright, let's move on. First up, the 1955 Australian 1-penny stands as one of the most iconic and emotionally charged coins in Australian numismatic history, a piece whose story transcends metal and minting to become a symbol of rarity, timing, and national heritage. Struck during a period of post-war economic adjustment, this coin was never intended to achieve legendary status. Yet fate intervened. With Australia transitioning in its minting priorities and production methods, the 1955 penny was produced in extraordinarily limited numbers, and most were released into circulation where they were quickly worn, lost, or destroyed. What remains today is not merely a coin, but a survivor, an artifact that captures a fleeting moment in Australia's monetary evolution. What makes this penny so captivating to collectors and investors alike is not just its scarcity, but the subtle elegance of its design combined with the weight of its backstory. The obverse front of the coin features the first portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick. The text around her portrait reads Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina F. Laughing Face, which translates to Elizabeth II by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, and the classic kangaroo reverse that defined Australian pre-decimal bronze coinage. The 1955 penny represents the closing chapter of an era. The detail in the strike, the depth of the fields, and the warm chocolate-brown toning seen on higher-grade examples elevate it far beyond a common circulating coin. Every genuine specimen carries with it decades of history, and in top condition, it commands immediate respect in elite collecting circles. Collectors worldwide pursue this coin relentlessly, not only because of how few examples exist, but because of how rarely one appears on the open market. Many are locked away in long-term collections, family estates, or institutional holdings, making public offerings exceptionally scarce. When one does surface, it ignites intense competition, often drawing interest from seasoned numismatists, high-net-worth investors, and museums alike. This level of demand ensures that the 1955 Australian 1-penny is not subject to fleeting trends. It is a cornerstone piece whose desirability has only strengthened over time. From an investment perspective, this coin occupies a unique position where passion and profit intersect. Unlike modern speculative collectibles, its value is anchored by genuine rarity, historical importance, and a track record of strong appreciation. It is widely regarded as a trophy coin, meaning ownership alone signifies a high level of sophistication and seriousness in the numismatic world. For many collectors, acquiring a 1955 penny is not just a purchase. It is the culmination of years, sometimes decades, of pursuit. In high grades, the market value of the 1955 Australian 1-penny reaches extraordinary levels, reflecting both condition rarity and sustained global demand. Lower circulated examples, when they appear, can still command substantial 5-figure sums depending on eye appeal and originality. However, in extremely fine condition, values rise dramatically, while about uncirculated examples are fiercely contested at auction. In mint state, the coin enters an entirely different tier of the market, with prices escalating rapidly as grade increases. A genuinely high-grade specimen, particularly one certified at the top end of the scale, has achieved market values approaching and exceeding $180,000, placing it among the most valuable Australian pennies ever sold and solidifying its status as a blue-chip numismatic asset. Owning a 1955 Australian 1-penny is ultimately about stewardship as much as possession. It is about holding a tangible piece of Australia's monetary legacy, one that few will ever have the privilege to acquire. Whether viewed as a centerpiece for an elite collection, a generational heirloom, or a strategic investment with proven resilience, this coin represents the pinnacle of Australian bronze coinage. Its rarity is unquestionable, its demand unwavering, and its legacy firmly cemented in the highest ranks of the numismatic market. Next up, the 1945 Australian 1 penny occupies an extraordinary place in numismatic history, emerging from a time when the world was reshaping itself after the turmoil of war. Minted in the final year of World War II, this coin carries with it the emotional weight of a nation transitioning from conflict to recovery. Resources were scarce, priorities were shifting, and minting operations were constrained, resulting in extremely limited production. Unlike ordinary circulation coins, the 1945 penny was never widely seen by the public, and many Australians lived their entire lives without ever encountering one. This scarcity, born from circumstance rather than intention, is what transformed the coin into one of the most elusive and celebrated treasures in Australian coinage. Beyond its rarity, the 1945 penny commands attention because of the powerful story embedded in its existence. Every surviving example reflects a moment when Australia stood on the brink of a new era, still bearing the marks of wartime austerity. The familiar portrait of King George VI on the obverse symbolizes continuity and stability, while the iconic kangaroo reverse reinforces national identity during a period when unity mattered deeply. Collectors are drawn not only to the design, but to the emotional resonance of the year itself. 1945 is a date that carries global significance, and this coin serves as a tangible reminder of that pivotal moment in history. The pursuit of the 1945 Australian 1 penny is often described as a lifelong quest among serious collectors. Its appearance at public auction is exceptionally rare, and when one does emerge, it commands immediate and intense attention. Competition for ownership is fierce, frequently involving seasoned numismatists, private collectors with deep historical focus, and investors who understand the long-term significance of wartime coinage. Unlike coins whose popularity fluctuates with trends, this penny sits in a category of its own, driven by absolute rarity and enduring historical importance rather than speculation. Condition plays a decisive role in elevating this coin from rare to legendary. Most known examples show signs of circulation or environmental exposure, which is hardly surprising given the era in which they were released. Coins that retain strong detail, original surfaces, and balanced coloration are extraordinarily difficult to find. The survival rate of high-quality specimens is astonishingly low, making each superior example a standout piece that instantly commands respect. The visual appeal of a well-preserved 1945 penny, sharp lettering, defined kangaroo features, and rich bronze tone adds another layer of desirability that cannot be overstated. From an investment standpoint, the 1945 Australian 1 penny is widely regarded as one of the most secure and prestigious assets in the Australian numismatic market. Its value is underpinned by fundamentals that rarely weaken: historical significance, extreme scarcity, and consistent collector demand. Over the decades, prices have demonstrated remarkable resilience, with strong upward movement during periods when other collectibles stagnated. This performance has cemented its reputation as a cornerstone coin, often compared to the most iconic rarities in international numismatics. In terms of market value, the 1945 penny occupies the very top tier of Australian bronze coinage. Worn or heavily circulated examples, when available, already command impressive prices due to their rarity alone. Coins grading very fine to extremely fine experience a dramatic increase in value, reflecting the difficulty of sourcing well-preserved pieces. About uncirculated examples are extraordinarily rare and generate intense bidding activity whenever offered publicly. In mint state condition, the coin reaches elite status, with top-grade certified specimens achieving values around $220,000 or more, depending on eye appeal, provenance, and market conditions. These figures firmly place the 1945 Australian 1 penny among the most valuable and desirable coins ever produced by the nation. To own a 1945 Australian 1 penny is to hold more than a rare object. It is to possess a physical link to a defining chapter of Australian and world history. It represents survival against the odds, both in its creation and in its preservation. Whether viewed as the crown jewel of a collection, a legacy piece to be passed through generations, or a strategic acquisition in a high-end portfolio, this coin embodies prestige, depth, and enduring value. Its story continues to captivate, its rarity remains unmatched, and its position at the summit of the numismatic market is firmly secured. Next up, the 1942 Australian 1 penny emerges from one of the most intense and uncertain periods in the nation's history, a year defined by global conflict, domestic anxiety, and unprecedented pressure on national resources. As World War II reached Australia's doorstep, priorities shifted almost entirely toward survival and defense, leaving little room for conventional minting operations. Coin production during this time was heavily disrupted, resulting in extraordinarily small output and an even smaller number of coins that ultimately survived. What remains today is not simply a wartime coin, but a rare historical witness to a year when Australia stood at a critical crossroads. This penny carries a unique gravity because it was minted under conditions unlike almost any other in Australian numismatic history. The bronze composition, the familiar kangaroo reverse, and the portrait of King George VI might appear conventional at first glance. Yet the context in which the coin was produced gives it extraordinary meaning. Materials were tightly controlled, labor was redirected to the war effort, and minting schedules were frequently interrupted. Each surviving 1942 penny reflects these constraints, making it a tangible product of wartime resilience rather than routine commerce. Collectors are drawn to the 1942 Australian 1 penny because it represents rarity born of necessity rather than design. Unlike commemorative issues or intentionally limited releases, this coin's scarcity is accidental and therefore far more compelling. Many examples were heavily circulated during the war years, while others were melted down or lost as Australia's economy adapted to extreme conditions. The few that escaped these fates are now fiercely protected within private collections, surfacing on the open market only on rare occasions and almost always generating strong international interest. The visual character of the 1942 penny further enhances its appeal. Well-preserved examples display crisp legends, a sharply defined kangaroo, and surfaces that reveal the original texture of wartime bronze. Because environmental storage and circulation conditions during the 1940s were far from ideal, coins with clean fields and minimal wear are exceptionally rare. This makes condition a defining factor in desirability, with even small differences in surface quality resulting in significant differences in market value. Beyond its collector appeal, the 1942 Australian 1 penny has become increasingly recognized as a serious investment-grade asset. Its market behavior reflects long-term stability rather than volatility, appealing to those who value historical depth alongside financial performance. Demand has steadily increased as awareness of wartime Australian coinage has grown internationally, and supply remains permanently fixed. This imbalance between demand and availability continues to place upward pressure on value, reinforcing its reputation as a dependable and prestigious holding. In the upper tiers of the market, the value structure of the 1942 penny demonstrates just how rare quality examples truly are. Coins in lower circulated grades still command strong prices due to absolute scarcity, while very fine and extremely fine examples see a substantial leap in valuation. About uncirculated specimens are seldom encountered and are often acquired privately before reaching public sale. In mint state condition, the 1942 Australian 1 penny enters an elite category, with high-grade certified examples achieving market values approaching $140,000, reflecting both condition rarity and sustained collector competition. These figures position the coin firmly among Australia's most valuable wartime bronze issues. Ultimately, the 1942 Australian 1 penny represents far more than a monetary artifact. It embodies endurance during a time of national strain and stands as a quiet reminder of Australia's wartime reality. Ownership of this coin signifies an appreciation for history, rarity, and the subtle forces that shape value over time. Whether admired for its historical narrative, pursued as a pinnacle collecting achievement, or held as a long-term investment, The 1942 penny remains a powerful symbol of resilience and an enduring cornerstone of Australian numismatics. Next up, the 1956 Australian 1 penny is a remarkable anomaly in Australia's numismatic timeline, a coin that appears ordinary by date yet extraordinary by circumstance. Issued during a period of relative national optimism and economic growth, this penny was struck at a time when Australia was modernizing rapidly, both socially and industrially. However, behind this atmosphere of progress lay a quiet shift in minting priorities, production decisions, and circulation patterns that resulted in an unexpectedly small number of pennies being released. What should have been a routine issue instead became one of the most elusive and sought-after bronze coins in the country's history. What truly sets the 1956 penny apart is the contrast between its era and its rarity. Unlike wartime issues defined by austerity, this coin comes from a year remembered for prosperity, immigration growth, and international engagement. This contrast fascinates collectors, as scarcity is rarely associated with times of abundance. Yet production limitations, distribution choices, and subsequent melting or withdrawal of surplus coinage quietly reduced survival numbers. As a result, the 1956 Australian 1 penny today stands as a silent exception to expectations, challenging assumptions about how and why rare coins are created. The design itself reflects continuity and national identity, featuring Queen Elizabeth II in her early reign and the iconic kangaroo reverse that had become synonymous with Australian bronze coinage. In well-preserved examples, the strike quality is particularly appealing, with strong portrait detail, clean legends, and a bold, well-centered kangaroo. The warm bronze surfaces, when untouched and original, exhibit rich toning that enhances the coin's visual presence. Because most examples entered circulation and saw heavy use, finding one with sharp detail and minimal wear is exceptionally difficult, elevating the desirability of high-grade specimens. Among collectors, the 1956 penny is often regarded as a surprise rarity, a coin that reveals its importance only to those who study survival rates and market behavior closely. It does not rely on dramatic historical events to justify its status. Instead, its significance lies in how few examples remain and how infrequently they are offered for sale. When a genuine example surfaces, particularly one with strong eye appeal, it attracts immediate attention from seasoned collectors who understand that opportunities to acquire this date are rare and unpredictable. From an investment perspective, the 1956 Australian 1 penny has demonstrated consistent strength, supported by long-term demand and permanently limited supply. Its market performance reflects confidence rather than speculation, appealing to collectors and investors who prioritize established rarity over novelty. Over time, it has transitioned from being an underappreciated issue to a recognized high-end asset, frequently mentioned alongside Australia's most respected bronze coin rarities. This evolution has further strengthened its position in elite numismatic portfolios. At the upper end of the market, the value structure of the 1956 penny underscores the extreme scarcity of top-quality examples. Coins in circulated condition already command notable prices due to their rarity alone, while extremely fine examples are keenly sought after and seldom released. About uncirculated specimens are exceptionally rare and often change hands privately. In mint state condition, the 1956 Australian 1 penny reaches a premium tier, with high-grade certified examples achieving market values approaching $170,000, depending on surface quality, strike, and provenance. These valuations firmly place the coin among Australia's most valuable post-war bronze issues. Ultimately, the 1956 Australian 1 penny represents the quiet power of rarity shaped by circumstance rather than crisis. It is a coin that rewards knowledge, patience, and discernment, standing as a testament to how subtle shifts in production and survival can create enduring value. Whether held as a centerpiece of a distinguished collection, preserved as a generational legacy, or acquired as a strategic investment, this penny commands respect not through drama, but through its unmistakable scarcity and lasting market significance. Next up, the 1958 Australian 1 penny stands as one of the most enigmatic and quietly powerful rarities in Australia's numismatic landscape, a coin whose importance is revealed not through dramatic public awareness, but through deep study, experience, and time. Minted during a period when Australia was redefining itself on the world stage, this penny emerged from an era of modernization, population growth, and expanding economic confidence. Yet paradoxically, its survival rate tells a very different story. Despite being produced in a seemingly stable year, the number of 1958 pennies that remain today is astonishingly small, elevating it into the upper echelon of Australian bronze coinage. What makes the 1958 penny especially compelling is the sense of mystery surrounding its scarcity. Unlike coins restricted by war or political upheaval, this issue was shaped by internal minting decisions, changing circulation needs, and later withdrawals that quietly erased much of its original output. Large quantities were absorbed into everyday commerce and worn down beyond recognition, while others were removed from circulation as Australia prepared for future currency changes. The result is a coin whose rarity was not immediately recognized, only becoming apparent decades later as collectors and researchers began to analyze survival numbers more closely. The visual appeal of the 1958 Australian 1 penny plays a significant role in its desirability, particularly among advanced collectors. Featuring Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse during the early years of her reign and the iconic kangaroo reverse, the coin reflects both continuity and national pride. In high-grade examples, the strike is crisp and confident, with fine detail in the portrait and a well-defined kangaroo that seems to stand out against smooth, reflective fields. Original bronze surfaces with natural toning are exceptionally rare, and when present, they elevate the coin into a class few others can match. Within elite collecting circles, the 1958 penny is often regarded as a sleeping giant rarity, one that was long underestimated before its true scarcity and importance became widely acknowledged. When an example appears on the open market, it is met with immediate and serious interest, often disappearing quickly into private collections. Auctions featuring this date are closely watched events, as many collectors recognize that missing a single opportunity may mean waiting years for another chance. This sense of urgency has become a defining characteristic of the coin's market presence. From a financial standpoint, the 1958 Australian 1 penny has proven itself as a high-caliber asset with strong long-term fundamentals. Its value growth has been driven by informed demand rather than speculation, making it especially attractive to those who view numismatics as both a passion and a disciplined investment strategy. As awareness continues to expand internationally, competition for top-quality examples has intensified, further reinforcing its position in the premium segment of the market. At the highest levels of condition, the 1958 penny commands extraordinary respect and equally extraordinary prices. Circulated examples, while rare, form only the entry point into the market. Extremely fine coins are scarce and eagerly pursued, while about uncirculated specimens are seldom offered publicly. In mint state condition, the coin reaches an elite tier where supply is measured in mere handfuls. High-grade certified examples have achieved market values approaching $192,000, reflecting not only their exceptional preservation, but also the fierce competition among collectors who understand just how rarely such coins become available. In essence, the 1958 Australian 1 penny is a testament to the power of hidden rarity and the enduring appeal of quality and history. It represents a moment in Australia's post-war development that, while outwardly ordinary, produced one of the nation's most remarkable numismatic survivors. To own this coin is to possess a piece of understated excellence, one that speaks quietly yet authoritatively of scarcity, refinement, and lasting value within the highest ranks of Australian coin collecting.